As for Lu Fan, he was sitting on the throne in this dark castle, starting to count his gains over the past half-month. Apart from the 9 demon armies, Lu Fan's biggest gain was his level increase. He had now reached level 41. Xiaoyi had reached level 38, while Xiao Qi and Jing Chen were at level 35 and 29 respectively. After reaching level 35, Xiao Qi had entered his maturity period and could be ridden, but Lu Fan was not very interested in riding him. Firstly, Xiao Qi was too young. Riding on him would not make him look as impressive as when he rode on Xiaoyi. Secondly, Xiao Qi was a support expert dragon. Riding on him would hardly increase his combat effectiveness. Lu Fan was now just waiting for Jing Chen to grow up. Thinking of riding on Jing Chen in starlight form, sharing hundreds of thousands of points in physical attribute, was making Lu Fan excited. It should be noted that Xiao Qi had also learned a new skill when he entered his maturity period dragon domain. When Lu Fan saw this skill, his eyes lit up. He felt that this skill had come at the perfect time. Dragon domain pulls units within a certain range into the dragon domain. Within the domain, all units with dragon bloodline have their attributes increased by 50%, while non-dragon bloodline units are affected by dragon pressure, reducing their attributes by 50%. This effect ignores resistance. The dragon domain is also completely isolated from the outside world, preventing any teleportation, summoning, or other outside interactions. Worthy of a skill that Xiao Qi can only unlock after she entered her maturing period. It is incredibly powerful. First, as always, it provides attribute enhancement, allowing Lu Fan and his pet dragons to increase their attributes by 50%. Second, it forcefully reduces the opponent's attributes by 50%. With this buff and debuff, even against opponents with double Lu Fan's attributes, once they get pulled into the dragon domain, Lu Fan could easily surpass them in terms of attributes. Furthermore, what excited Lu Fan most was the skill's final function. After careful consideration, Lu Fan understood the implications of this skill. Essentially, the skill could pull enemies into an independent space. In this space, enemies could not summon their summons. Since summons were transported from other subspaces, and the dragon domain was isolated from all other spaces, summons naturally could not be called upon. Later, Lu Fan experimented and found that within the dragon domain, he indeed could not let either Fallen Corpse Magic Dragon open up their puppet's subspace. However, he could freely summon his other pet dragons, likely because the dragon domain space was where the dragons reside in, so summoning his pet dragons was not restricted. This makes Lu Fan essentially a nightmare for summoner-type professions. Once pulled into the dragon domain, they would not be able to summon their pets or summons. This would completely nullify their profession. Through testing, Lu Fan discovered that while this skill could pull himself and his opponents into the dragon domain, both parties could not move freely within it. The movable space was not particularly large or small, about the size of a soccer field, providing enough room for combat, but not enough room for massive maneuvers. Lu Fan's hope of searching for dragon eggs in the dragon domain naturally could not be realized. Nevertheless, this skill had already given Lu Fan more than enough pleasant surprises. The reason Lu Fan felt this skill came too late was because he suspected that if teleportation and summoning were impossible within the dragon domain, would that not mean Jin Chenghen's revival skill would also be unusable? After death, Jin Chenghen could revive through his other abyss summons, which was essentially similar to teleportation and summoning. If Jin Chenghen got pulled into the dragon domain, it should be possible to truly kill him. After understanding this, Lu Fan had been constantly thinking about when he might encounter Jin Chenghen again, wishing for it even. Unfortunately, the National Trial's secret realm was too vast, and Lu Fan had not encountered representatives from other countries for a while. Only 2 representatives from small countries were killed by hell demons while they were out hunting, which resulted in Lu Fan getting their points. What Lu Fan was counting on was using mission scrolls to locate Jin Chenghen's position. Just as Lu Fan finished handling everything in the Dark Castle and prepared to continue searching for mission scrolls, the information above his head suddenly changed. Above his head appeared a bloody dagger, clearly the mark of being him hunted. Oh, someone's hunting me? Lu Fan was startled, but then quickly understood. Seems like another large amount of points would soon be added to my name. Lu Fan was not interested in passively waiting for the other party to come. He simply ignored the mission and continued flying away from the Dark Castle, searching for mission scrolls to hunt down representatives. After all, if they come, he would just kill them. Meanwhile, elsewhere on the map, a purple mission scroll vanished into nothing, and above the head of a young man wearing a milky white mage robe, carrying a huge cross on his back, appeared mission information written in blood. Hunt the first ranked on the points leaderboard Dragon Country representative, Lu Fan. So this is the ultimate mission scroll? Interesting. Charles looked at the mission information above his head and smiled. His appearance could be considered handsome. However, rather than handsome, it was more apt to call it beautiful. He carried an indescribable holy aura that made his face appear like that of an angel, like a beautiful work of art. Combined with his milky white mage robe, anyone would think he was a priest. Moreover, one who had truly carved his profession characteristics into his bones. However, this person naturally was not as simple as he appeared on the surface. This point could be seen from the wary expressions of Jin Chenghin and Musashi Ten beside him. The location of the ultimate mission scroll was inside a level 70 platinum grade boss, a magma giant. Only by killing this boss and searching carefully inside the magma giant's body could one find it. Just now, Jin Chenghin and Musashi Ten had witnessed with their own eyes how Charles killed this boss. The power Charles displayed left both of them shocked. Originally, they thought that working together, defeating T0 players like Charles and Andre should not be difficult. However, after personally seeing Charles in action, both realized their mistake. Charles's strength was clearly beyond what the information they had on him showed. After changing from battle priest to holy saint, Charles's strength had practically doubled, leaving Andre far behind. This person was truly in a league of his own in the national trial. The only one who might be able to match him was Lu Fan, whose true strength remained unknown. Jin Chenghin glanced at the shattered remains of the magma giant nearby, unconsciously gulping. Nevertheless, he still gathered his courage to step forward and ask very respectfully, "Mr. Charles, now that we've helped you find the mission scroll, can you really kill Lu Fan and take all his points?" Charles glanced at Jin Chenghin and nodded. "Of course. Otherwise, why would I accept this mission?" Though Musashi Ten was shocked by Charles's strength, thinking of the demon general under Lu Fan's command, and the possibility that his points really came from soloing the Dark Castles, he still felt that counting on Charles to successfully kill Lu Fan and seize his points might not work. So, Musashi Ten volunteered. Lu Fan is someone who soloed Dark Castles. According to him, besides being able to summon the demon general, he can even summon the 9 hell demons. Although this sounds like boasting, if it's true, then even if the 3 of us work together, we might not be a match for Lu Fan. Solo the Dark Castle. Charles smiled, seemingly unconvinced, and said, "Actually, I can do that too." What? Musashi Ten's eyes immediately widened. He looked at Charles's points, thinking that if Charles could really solo a Dark Castle, he would not have such few points. Obviously, Charles's points all came from missions and monsters. He definitely had not soloed a Dark Castle. Seeing Musashi Ten's expression, Charles naturally knew he did not believe him. However, Charles was not angry at all. He just smiled faintly with a holy aura around him. Soloing the Dark Castle isn't actually the Dragon Country representative's own ability. He was able to do it because he borrowed an external power. External power? What do you mean? Jin Chenghin was very curious. Charles smiled and said, "In 3 minutes, I'll tell you the answer." Jin Chenghin and Musashi Ten were confused, but then realized Charles probably wanted to reveal some big secret without letting the Cherry Blossom Country and Extremistes Country's delegates hear it.